وأن أرعى مصالح المواطنين وحرياتهم رعاية كاملة، وأن أحافظ على استقلال الوطن وسلامة أراضيه.
Assalamu alaikum. Those were the headlines, and now for the details. The Shura Council discussed in its sixth session the report from the Financial and Economic Committee about the feedback and remarks on the draft law for combating hidden trade. The Council reviewed draft contract between the Government of the Sultanate of Oman and Republic of Ireland on avoidance of double taxation. The Council approved the proposal of Social Services and Development Committee on the Convention and on Contract for International Carriage of Goods by Road of 1956 and the relevant protocol. The Council approved the agreement for passenger and goods transportation by road between the Sultanate of Oman and Tunisia. Telecommunication Regulatory Authority signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the National Frequency Agency of Tunisia to develop joint cooperation between the two institutions and to benefit from the Omani experience in frequency spectrum management and control. The memorandum covers frequency spectrum management and exchange of expertise in development of professional skills. The memorandum was signed by Dr. Hamad bin Salim Al-Rawahi, Chief Executive Officer of TRA, and Dr. Tawfiq Al-Rajabi, Director General of National Frequency Authority of Tunisia.
فيا أبناء عمان الطاهرة في كل مكان، يا جنودها البواسل في كل ميدان، استعدوا بارك الله فيكم لمواصلة المسيرة بكل عزم وإصرار وقوة ومضاء، فعمان بحاجة إلى المزيد من البذل والعطاء والتضحية والفداء والعمل الجاد المثمر البناء.
May his soul rest in peace. Since 1970, His Majesty the late Sultan Qaboos has placed a great attention to youth in various fields by empowering them to lead various segments. Over the years, the fruit of empowerment was realized by nurturing promising youth to lead the country's development. The Youth March was guided and encouraged through His Majesty the Sultan speeches and visions. In his speeches, His Majesty Sultan Qaboos urged public and private sectors to give special attention to the youth and empower them. Through royal directives, more government and non-government institutions were established to meet the various needs and requirements of the youth. To commemorate youth efforts and contributions, the 26th of October was dedicated as Omani Youth Day.
فيا أبناء عمان الطاهرة في كل مكان، يا جنودها البواسل في كل ميدان، استعدوا بارك الله فيكم لمواصلة المسيرة بكل عزم وإصرار وقوة ومضاء، فعمان بحاجة إلى المزيد من البذل والعطاء والتضحية والفداء والعمل الجاد المثمر البناء.
The United Nations Special Representative for Libya said that he hopes ceasefire talks that officially began today between the country's warring sides would reach a deal that can convince foreign powers to stop pouring in weapons and breaking an international arms embargo. Ghassam Salameh, the head of the United Nations Support Mission in Libya, lamented how the embargo has been incessantly violated since the fall of Muammar al-Gaddafi in 2011, and said an international conference in Berlin last month sought to renew respect for it. Libya has the 9th largest non-oil reserves in the world and the biggest oil reserves in Africa. World Health Organization Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said there was no need for measures that unnecessarily interfere with international travel and trade in trying to halt the spread of coronavirus that has killed 361 people in China. China is facing increasing international isolation due to restrictions on flights to and from the country and bans on travelers from China. There have been 17,238 confirmed infections in China, including 361 deaths, as well as 151 confirmed cases in 23 countries and 1 death, which was reported from the Philippines on Sunday. The World Health Organization also said it was working around the clock with internet and social media giants to combat widespread misinformation surrounding the deadly novel coronavirus outbreak. The WHO chief warned of the dangers posed by the spread of rumors and misinformation as China saw a surge in deaths and infections from the highly contagious virus. Iran. President Hassan Rouhani said Iran is ready to cooperate with the European Union on issues related to the nuclear deal it agreed with world powers in 2015. He made his comments at a meeting with Joseph Borrell, the head of the European Union's foreign services, who traveled to Iran to try to reduce tensions in the Middle East after the U.S. killing of Iranian military commander Qasem Soleimani last month. Under the deal, Tehran agreed to curb its nuclear activities in exchange for the lifting of most international sanctions, but the United States withdrew from the deal in 2018 and reimposed sanctions on Iran. Iran began reducing its commitments under the nuclear deal last year to put pressure on the parties remaining in the accord to protect its economy from U.S. sanctions and allow the Islamic Republic to gain the full benefits outlined in the deal. Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif said in late January that Iran could quit the Global Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty (NPT) if European countries refer it to the United Nations Security Council over the nuclear agreement. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and yet to come in our news bulletin. The traditional market in Nizwa, locally known as Souq al-Sansara, is a popular destination for tourists to sense the graceful Omani heritage.
على الصعيد الخارجي فإننا سوف نرتسم خط السلطان الراحل، مؤكدين على الثوابت التي اختطها لسياسة بلادنا الخارجية القائمة على التعايش السلمي بين الأمم والشعوب وحسن الجوار وعدم التدخل في الشؤون الداخلية للغير واحترام سيادة الدول وعلى التعاون الدولي في مختلف المجالات.
Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Central Bank of Oman announced the release of issues number 63 of government development bonds. The Central Bank of Oman also mentioned that the bonds will be available through auction with a value of 150 million Omani Rials and prime interest rate of 5.25% annually. The bank mentions that the bonds will be issued on Thursday, 20th of February 2020. In an endeavor to disseminate the concept of culture of innovation and encourage competition, the Ministry of Manpower launched the second edition of the Ministry's Innovation Prize for students of colleges of technology and occupational colleges and employees of the Ministry. The prize aims to contribute in building knowledge economy based on innovation and attract talents to develop their creativity and innovation and encourage them to transfer them into tangible things that contribute to sustainable development. The registration for the prize started on 29th of January and will continue till 10th of May 2020. The prize consists of 9 fields, namely industry, tourism, commerce, technology, environment, occupational health and safety, food, security, designing and community initiatives. A scientific seminar was organized to discuss modern programs for using active vaccines for the vaccination of remnants in the Sultanate at the Livestock Health Central Laboratory in Muscat. It dealt with the mutation of foot and mouth disease and small ruminant plaque and ways to deal with them, in addition to propose vaccination to stop them from spreading in the Sultanate. The seminar presented experiences of some countries that suffered from these diseases and succeeded in limiting them. A number of veterinary doctors and specialists working in the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth took part in the event with the participation of some international experts in the field. The production of refinery and petroleum industries of car fuel in the Sultanate rose by 2% in December 2019. The National Center for Statistics and Information pointed out that the production of car fuel M91 or 91 declined by 13% by the end of December 2019. Meanwhile, the production of car fuel M95 rose by 15% to reach around 14 million barrels. The Public Authority for Craft Industries is implementing 8 training initiatives in various craft industries in the governorates of North and South Sharqiya. The initiatives aim to equip around 100 youths with craft development skills. These initiatives came as part of efforts being exerted by the authority to preserve and develop the craft industries and prepare well-qualified cadres in this field that keep pace with the latest developments in promotion and marketing aspects being witnessed by the craft industries field. Oman oil price April 2020 delivery reached $54 and 4 cents per barrel. According to Dubai Mercantile Exchange, Oman oil price declined by $1 and 34 cents. The average price of Oman oil February 2020 delivery reached $65 and 49 cents per barrel, thus $2.68 higher than price of January 2020 delivery. As-Souq al-Sharqi in Nizwa traditional market, which is locally known as Souq al-Sansara, enthralls its visitors not only with a very genuine merchandise, but also with graceful Omani heritage. Our reporter Saleh bin Khalfan al-Rahbi was there, and he has prepared this report.
Nizwa Souq is one of the most renowned traditional markets in the Sultanate. The unique and long-standing heritage of the souk gave it a distinctive popularity among other markets. It is similar to a big city where trade and commerce thrive. Nizwa Old Market, which is called As-Souq al-Sharqi, meaning the East Souq, is locally known as Souq al-Sansara. Here, the beauty and grandeur of the ancient Omani heritage catch the eyes of the visitors.
I have been here in this souk for about 60 years. In Nizwa Souk, we have As-Souq al-Sharqi and As-Souq al-Gharbi. In As-Souq al-Sharqi here, we sell different food items like grains and dates. People from all over the world visit this souk.
This is our first visit. We've seen all sorts of interesting things like new foods. We've seen all sorts of ideas here in the crafts area, which we've not seen before. We think it's interesting that you've maintained the history. Everywhere we go, we see ideas of where you came from and where you're going. And I think that's very important to maintain your history, because it's as people get older, or the young people get older, they don't know what's gone on. So I think it's very important for you to have this to show people where you've come from and where you are today.
This old souk is still preserving its traditional manner of buying and selling, where a variety of goods and food items are sold, some of which are palm fronds, ancient collectibles, spices, honey, seeds, and natural herbs.
As you know, this is old souk here we have. This is oldest souk here. And we are offering here herbs, and also we have frankincense, nuts, we have spices, Omani tea also we have. We have what's called peppermint, hibiscus flowers. We have green tea. This is herbs, and also we have spices as you know, star anise, cardamom. We have also cinnamons and different a lot of spices we have here.
We as Omani youth have to maintain the history of the souk and teach the new generation how to keep it.
The vendors in the souk have inherited trading from their fathers and grandfathers. A generation after another, they learn the profession of trading to preserve the well-established heritage and keep the souk an attractive touristic spot over the years to come. The mesmerizing aroma spreading all over the corridors of this ancient souk tell tales about the graceful Omani heritage. صالح بخلفان الرحبي, ولاية of Nizwa الداخلية Governorate.
Thank you, Saleh. The second International Bioethics Conference that was organized by Ethics Committee at Sultan Qaboos University in collaboration with UNESCO and Sultan Qaboos University concluded its activities. More details follows. At Sultan Qaboos University, the activities of International Conference on Bioethics, Ethical and Legal Issues of Emerging Biomedical Science and Research participated by regional and international experts, together with their Omani colleagues, concluded its three-day activities with a call for more responsive and flexible legislations and regulations.
The second International Bioethics Committee was a hub in which professionals from different fields who are interested in bioethics and dealing with ethical issues in Oman and from outside Oman had the chance to share their worries, the current practices in many of the new scientific issues arising in the world and that have direct interaction and impact in the health and in the individual in general, such as the artificial intelligence, reproductive technologies, and many other topics that were discussed. And the recommendations were mainly directed toward coming up with legislations and policies, procedures that will enable such new advances in the science to be utilized and used in the community, but in the same time making sure that there is no negative consequences on it, and we are respecting the dignity and the humanity of the people.
The conference, organized by the National Bioethics Committee in cooperation with Sultan Qaboos University and UNESCO, have addressed contemporary and emerging challenges related to legislations that govern and relate to existing and emerging bioethical issues.
This conference on biological or medical ethics held in Muscat is the second one. The first one was held about 5 years ago, and both of them have implications on the practice of medicine and the practice of everyday problems that can happen in the medical field and in the biological field and the research field. It involves so many wide spectrum of subjects, from euthanasia, brain death, organ transplantation, genetics, so many more subjects.
This is an excellent and successful conference, and my contribution was a lecture entitled Differences between Western Secular Bioethics and Islamic Bioethics and its implications on legalization of bioethical issues, and I presented the example of euthanasia. And I concluded that euthanasia is not possible to be legalized in Muslim country because the patient's autonomy in Islamic perspective is limited by God's autonomy, and the patient cannot contradict God's will and God's rules in this world. The second thing is that the definition of quality of life from Western secular bioethics is different from the quality of life from Islamic perspective. As we know, Muslim in this world, every minute is very valuable for him or her to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's one day more in his life is very, very valuable.
The topics covered the interlinked relationship between bioethics and legislations, advances in medicine and biology, issues at the beginning and end of life, and issues related to medical practice.
I'm very happy to have the honor to be here as a speaker in this very prestigious conference, the second conference on bioethics. And I think that the Oman National Ethics Committee and the organizers of this meeting have doing a very great job to have a very constructive role in the region, to gather specialists from different countries, including Iran and others, to discuss about very important issue of bioethics and medical ethics. I think that in future this kind of activities will help to have a better environment in the region, especially among the academicians, among the university professors, scholars, and thinkers, which their aim is to have a better environment and better future for all people living in this very important region of the world.
The National Bioethics Committee is working towards formulating a clear path to deal with ethically contentious medical issues in the spirit of the tolerance of Sharia and the developments of modern science. Abdullah bin Ahmed al-Rubi'i, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat. And now let's have a look at the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over the most of the governorates, with chances of low clouds and fog late at night and early morning over the coast of the Arabian Sea. Winds will be north to northwesterly light to moderate. Seas will be slight with a maximum wave height of 1.25 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman Television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Shura Council discusses the draft law for combating hidden trade. The International Regulatory Authority signs a memorandum of understanding with National Frequency Agency of Tunisia to develop joint cooperation between the two institutions. The United Nations-sponsored Libya ceasefire talks officially begin between the country's warring sides. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman Television. From the entire news team and myself, we thank you for joining us, and we say good night to all of you.